What's happening? This is the Tap In podcast. We are live inside of the Tap In studio, and via Zoom is a fucking. I want to call him a comedy godfather, Mr. Shuckey Duckey. How you doing, sir?
I'm quacking, my brother, quacking.
That's what's up, man. Good to see you, man. You're looking good.
I'm trying to stay. I'm trying to stay in it. I'm trying to stay in it.
Yeah. Man, so what I really love to do is tap into comics that have been doing it for a long time. How long have you been in the game, man?
Since 1986.
What was 1986 like? Because I always hear stories from like Steve Harvey where he used to. Well, I heard him say at one point that there was no black clubs. There was only white clubs back then to do comedy in. What was it like in '86 doing comedy?
Well, it wasn't any black clubs, but it was plenty of white clubs that you could do comedy in. But in 1986, but black comedian, the Renaissance or the Black Explosion, people being interested in comedy, black people being interested in comedy as a profession started exploding.
In 86?
In 86, they started getting their feet wet in 86. A lot of people started wanting to be comedians during that time.
Who was on the circuit back then? Who was around like hitting the clubs? Do you remember?
Back in 86, it wasn't a lot from because I'm from Dallas. It was more like Shirley Hemphill. It was J.J. Walker, those type of people that was hitting the club.
Okay. Now, I know for me, I'm a little younger than you, just a little. And Def Jam, when Def Jam got started, that's when or at least in my little bubble, is when comedy like just blew up, and you start seeing all these black comedy stars on TV and doing movies. What was that like booking Def Jam back then?
Well, the Def Jam didn't explode until about 91, 92.
Okay.
92. That's when 92 when Def Jam started to explode. But people was doing a lot of comedy way back then, because the only time we can get some TV time was Showtime at the Apollo. Those type of venues, we saw a lot of comedians on, but they had a lot of evening at the Improvs, but it was a lot of white comedians. Comic Strip Live, it was a lot of white comedians. It was hard for black comedians to get that platform. And if we opened up for a white comedian, we couldn't be blue. We couldn't curse or nothing like that because we was open up for white comedians, and it could destroy their show if we come out raunchy and they came out clean. So we didn't get a lot of stage time. And so that's when the boom for black comedy clubs, the black places where you can go and present yourself as a comedian.
Yeah. So how did y'all get stronger? Where did y'all work out material and stuff like that?
So we did it from everywhere. Well, when the boom came, black comedy clubs was coming up everywhere. People, we did nightclubs, strip clubs, churches, restaurants. It didn't make no difference where we performed at, as long as we had a venue to perform in. And so that's where we got our strength and strong from. See, back in the day when we was coming up, we had to work on our act. You first have to work on for an opener, you have to have 15 minutes worth of material as an opener, from 7 to 15 as an opening act. Then from 20 to 30, as an MC, and as an MC and opening act, you have to be 15 about 7 to 15 minutes. Then as a feature act, you have to have 20 to 30 minutes worth of material. And then as a headliner, you had to have 45 minutes to an hour worth of material. So that was back then, that was people's goal. Young people's goal was to get to those 15 minutes, to get to those 30 minutes, and get to the hour so they can be a headline. You know, so that was our goal. And we worked it out. We worked that material out. We started out with 5, worked it 5 out, and then just kept on until we can build up to 45 minutes worth of material.
Okay. And what was Def Jam like when you was recording, when you did your Def Jam? Because that's when I first got introduced to all comedians, is through Def Jam, and you and a couple other different comics are the ones that stood out back then.
Well, like I said, it was a hot place. Every black comedian wanted to get on Def Jam, but Def Jam wasn't accepting every black comedian because something, you know, you had to be almost raunchy. You had to be strong because the audience that's New York, you know, New York, you know what the Apollo is like. So a lot of people, they wanted the strongest comedian they can get. When I first was introduced, Steve Harvey tried to get me on there, and he came back and said that I wasn't funny, and that I,
Who said you wasn't funny?
That's what they said. I mean, they said
was
the first time.
Was that Bob Sumner or like?
I don't know who it was, but whoever whoever presented the tape, Steve presented the tape, and he came back and told me that, you know. And then I worked with Bill Bellamy. I went to New York, New Jersey. Bill Bellamy, you came to the club where Steve Harvey had the club at Buku Ray in Dallas. And so I was making sure that Bill Bellamy got everything that he needed. And then so he asked me if anytime I want to come to New York, you know, come up there. And I went up to New York in Elizabeth, in New Jersey, at the Peppermint Lounge, did something. And Bob Sumner saw me, he liked me, and said, "Hey, you're gonna be on the next Def Jam." That's what he said, but it didn't happen it didn't happen right away, you know, because I wasn't really a cursing type of comedian. I wasn't that type of cursing type of comedian. And so when Steve Harvey told me that they rejected me on that when he saw the tape, then I had to go do a fashion show in Garland, Texas. And, you know, I kind of like down Def Jam. I said, "Oh, they want them old raunchy comedians. They don't want no they want their old nasty comedy. They don't want no good comedy." But, you know, all the time, that was that bitterness coming out of me, because I love the platform where you can be yourself and say what you want to say, and there's no repercussions. You know, you ain't trying to hold back and all that kind of stuff. So Def Jam gave you that platform to do that. And so therefore, when they picked me to come that time, I was, you know, they were surprised that I was able to hold my own. I didn't knock them out the park, but I didn't fall on my face either.
Okay. Now, is that where the Shuckey Duckey come from? Like you would implement that instead of a curse word, or is back then it was just, this is my name?
No, what happened was this. I created the Shuckey Duckey phrase before I started doing comedy. I created the Shuckey Duckey phrase in 86, but I've been saying it since 82. But what happened, I was practicing Buddhism. I was a practicing Buddhist, like Tina Turner, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I was practicing that, and we was getting ready to go to Japan one year. And so I needed to raise $3,000 to go to Japan for that trip. And I was working a menial job, so therefore I didn't have $3,000, so I was going to raise that money. And during that time, the phrase "Where's the beef?" "Where's the beef?" was real popular. And so I was going to sell me some "Where's the beef" t-shirts to raise my money to go to Japan. And somebody said I couldn't do that because Wendy's had the copyrights to it. So I called Wendy's. They told me to call Pro Sports, who had the license agreement. I called them. They sent me down the paraphernalia, all the stuff that they was going to do to promote "Where's the Beef." And then so I was on my way to try to raise this $3,000. Then Clara, the old woman, got in trouble with Wendy's for doing a spaghetti commercial on the same thing. They turned around and sued her. Then she turned around and died, and then the whole campaign died. And then I said, I wished I could come up with something that I can market and have full control. And I said, "Shuckey Duckey." I've been using this phrase all this time. So I took what they showed me during the "Where's the Beef" campaign, took Shuckey Duckey, had the logo, trademark, copywritten. I did all of that stuff, and I put them on T-shirts. And I was just making a phrase popular for 1986. I'll say Shuckey Duckey is a new phrase for 1986. It's hot, new, and fun to say. Use Shuckey Duckey in your vocabulary today. And I did that for a while. And then I was trying to say, how can I market this? Because I don't have no money. How can I market this thing? And when people say, hey, Shuckey Duckey, they automatically laugh and put a smile on their face. So we connected it. Comedy. Comedy is the way to go. So I didn't know nothing about comedy. So I joined at the Funny Bone. It was a thing called the Comedy Gym. I started learning the ins and outs of comedy through the Comedy Gym, which was a white organization, how to, to learn the fundamentals of stand-up comedy through them. And that's the reason why probably when Steve saw that tape and Def Jam saw this tape, is saying that, hey, now he ain't gonna be able to make it in the black community with that, with that type of comedy.
Okay. Hey, so do you have a like a marketing background, or you just really just implemented exactly what Wendy's was doing? Or
no, I didn't have a marketing background. Like I said, I implemented what Wendy was doing.
Okay.
To make it, I produced the Shuckey Duckey rap record. I did a Shuckey, had a T-shirt, I had a dance. I had a lot of little stuff. I got a doll. I had a Shuckey Duckey doll. I was ready to rock and roll with it, but then again, you have to put the comedy under your belt. And then I went to Hollywood too. I did a movie with Michael Java White called Thick of Steve's. I did that. It was on all of the platforms from Uptown Comedy Club, Showtime at the Apollo. I did all of those type of things. But what happened is, when you think of Shuckey Duckey, a lot of people thought, and the white guys thought, it was like a shucking and jiving, or, you got to be, buffoonery type of a thing. Well, I said, no, well, you got the wrong duck. I ain't gonna, I'm not gonna do that type of stuff, So, because I'm trying to hold up black images and things of that nature. I'm not going to be no stepping fetch it or no shucking and jiving. So you got so it's kind of hard to match up where I look and the name. It was like the name was kind of cartoonish, but my look is not cartoonish. So it was kind of how you gonna make it? How you gonna make it work? Because people didn't understand. I was trying to promote a phrase. I wasn't trying to be the best stand-up comedian in the world. I was trying to get that phrase out and make something, take something from nothing and make something out of it. And then, but I got to say, it benefited me because it helped me to buy 2 houses, a church building, some real estate property. So it helped me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I wonder if some of the same things that you implemented back then, you think they can work today?
Yeah, but see, y'all got it much easier today because we had to work on our act and then try to find exposure. Now the internet comedians, they got the exposure. Now they got to work on their act because it's a whole new different ball game. You can be funny and edit and make everything work, but when you got to work on your act and get in front, there's nothing like a live audience, because a live audience is going to let you know whether you're good or you bad. They're going to let you know. So therefore, you got to get your balls, your nuts and stuff and get in front of that audience. And ain't nothing wrong with getting booed. Ain't nothing wrong with getting bombing, because it's just a learning experience in bombing. Now, don't bomb too many times, but you got to get out there and face that audience because they make you strong. I'm gonna tell you, when Steve Harvey got me on the Apollo, I was afraid of the Apollo. I said, God, dog, I got to get these nerves up. I said, how can I build my nerves up so I can go to this Apollo? So what I did is I went to a strip joint. And I told the owner, look here, man, let me do comedy before you bring the girls out. So he say, what? I said, yeah, man, let me do some comedy. Man, nigga. I said, that's what I want. I want them to boo me. I want them to, because they ain't expecting me. I want that because I got to have the strength to be able to stand for 3 to 5 minutes on that stage at the Apollo in case they boo me. I got to be strong. So I did that. So I went to the strip joint, and them Negro was hostile, man. They didn't want to see me. They want to see some ass and tits. They didn't want to see me. And then so I stood there and I took it. And then I remember Eddie Griffin, when I was at the Comedy Store, Eddie Griffin had a heckler line that was so good that I know I had to stay 3 minutes. So I stayed that 3 minutes to that 5 minutes. And at the end, I used that Eddie Griffin heckler line, man, and got a standing O and walked off that stage. Nigga said, I like you, nigga. I like you. And the phrase, the guy one guy kept on yelling out. So I told the guy I used the Eddie Griffin heckler line and say, hey man, have you ever seen an asshole wrapped up in plastic? He said, no. I said, well, take out your driver's license.
Oh, that's dope. That's funny.
And I hit that at the end, man, and walked off the stage. You see? But all I was trying to do was have the nerves to stay and take the heckling and take the not paying me attention to be how long can I stay and be strong with it. So that was my thing, get into a hostile audience and work your jelly.
Yeah, that is dope. That you already knew you had to put yourself through that before even going to the Apollo.
Right.
Yeah.
I tell you another thing I did too. Another thing I did was a lady hooked me up with Uptown Comedy Club. You know, back in the day in Uptown Comedy Club, you had to do mama jokes.
Is that the one in Atlanta or the one in LA?
No, the Uptown Comedy Club was in New York. They had an Uptown Comedy. They had a television show. So they booked me on the television show. And then so you have to do, in order to be on the show, you got to do the mama jokes. And I knew I wasn't good at no mama jokes. I was not good at no mama jokes. And so I was sitting down, I told Rodney Winfield, he done passed away now. I told Rodney Winfield, man, I got to go up to New York and do these mama jokes. You know, I ain't good at no mama jokes. You just got to sit out there and write you something, right? So back in the day, they had those satellites, the real big old satellites, you know, before they got the small satellites. And so I said one joke where, man, your mama head so big, she passed the satellite store and said, are those hats on sale? So that was all right. But the best one I got, the best mama joke that I got was in the hood. Okay, I knew I wasn't good at mama jokes. So I went and got all the Negroes in the apartment that was in the hood. I put them in my living room. And I told them, hey, y'all start scoring on each other. And y'all come over to this school, I'm writing it down. And they was in there scoring, man, they had some pretty good ones. But they had one good one that stood out. I took that joker. And then they told me when you got to Uptown Comedy Club to say your best for last. So I say that for last. And that joker hit him. And the joke and the mama joke was, your mama's so funky, she was secret and it told on her.
I think everybody that recycled that joke.
Yeah, everybody recycled it. But that's the first time I had ever heard it. And I used it on Uptown, bam, and hit them.
I think I do remember that show where it would be like two teams and they'll go head to head doing mama jokes. And I think that's a viral video of Tracy Morgan and Monique.
Yeah. I got the video where I did it. I got the video. Yeah. Man, I got the video.
Send that to me. I want to see that. I want to see that.
I got the video. Yeah.
Man, goodness gracious. To me, it seemed like back then it was it feels like it was a smaller community of comics versus now where it feel like everybody and their mama a comedian now, or everybody is just trying to throw their hat in and call themselves a comic when they never even got on stage.
Well, everybody think they funny. There's a lot of people think that funny, and comedy is what you can relate to. If I can relate to it, it's funny to me. If I can't relate to it, it's not funny to me. It doesn't mean that you're not funny. It's just I can't relate to your material. So, but you know, it's just like if a nerd talking about computers and all that kind of stuff, if that's not my world, I can't relate to the jokes that they're telling. You know, so everybody think they're funny. You know, so just like everybody got these podcasts, everybody got a podcast now. So now the whole going thing is podcast now. Everybody want to talk and got to comment. This is my commentary on things, and so if it look like it's easy, you're gonna always get imitators or people can do it. because it's become easy. That's the reason why rap is so big than big because rap might rap saved R&B. What happened was during the 70s and the 60s, the R&B became political. We started talking about the Vietnam War. Marvin Gaye was saying, "What's going on?" Star was saying, "War, what is it good for?" And then Freda Payne came, bring the boys home. Well, the government didn't want that type of messages out, and you put it into music too. They can resonate real good because everything works on vibration, and so they didn't want that type of things out. So during the late 70s, around about 76, 77, it started coming into the disco type of area, because see, the disco was a straight beat. Anybody can sing. You didn't have to do no rhythm, no blues, either bam, boom. You couldn't do. Everybody couldn't do James Brown. Everybody couldn't do what Earth, Wind and Fire was doing for the rhythm. But then when they stood that straight beat, bam, 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 everybody could be disco, and you go from one song to the next song. So they stopped hiring big bands to come do clubs and doing shows. Then that's when a lot of people become solo acts. Michael Jackson became solo. Lionel Richie became solo. A lot of people were leaving the groups and becoming solo acts. And then it was only partying, drugs, and things of that nature. And so you wasn't thinking about no Vietnam War. You wouldn't, because it's all about drugs and all those phobias and all that type of stuff was going on. And so, but it left the black community out because athletes wasn't making big money during that time. It was just the singers. Everybody wanted to be singers. They wasn't making that big money. And so when the DJs became popular, we're taking one song, going to the next song, to the next song, to the next song, and then start talking over the song with rhymes and everything. So they just start, people say, I can do that. And then they start coming out with that. And then when Sugar Hill Gang came out with that hip hop, and everybody was singing that, then everybody could come out because they can, could relate to it. And then people started coming out. The message, when the first message came out with rap, it came out with messages about the hood. It's like a jungle sometime. I want to keep them going. They had messages. And then when 2 Live Crew had the little raunchy thing doing what they want to do, and he took them all the way, Luke Campbell took them all the way to the Supreme Court, and then everything broke loose then. Everybody had the freedom to do what they want to do and say what they want to say. And then corporate America say they would never get behind rap. And they would come and say disco was here to stay, but they say I'd never get behind rap. But they couldn't stop it because it was underground. It came from the hood, and it blossomed and blossomed and blossomed. Then the corporate America would say, well, if I can't beat them, I'll join them, and I can control the narrative. And that's what they've been doing now, is controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
But it saved R&B because all the rap song was riding off of old R&B hook lines.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Have you ever thought about and while you was talking, I was thinking about this. Have you ever tried doing like sketches or anything like that?
Yeah, I got a lot of. I'm thinking about doing some of my comedy and sketches and doing some ideas that I see in the grocery store, especially this pandemic. I'm seeing a lot of BS bullshit that's in this goddamn pandemic. I'll do a whole bunch of sketches. I like to whoop somebody's ass today about a mask. I'm like, put on your mask. I said, you can tell that bitch over there. No, you can tell that woman over there to put on her mask. You trying to get you something from her, but you gonna think that you gonna beat me up and make me look bad in front of all these people. They ain't putting on no damn mask.
Yeah, I would love to see you like do a sketch with like a young internet comic. You know what I mean? I would love to see you like interacting, because everybody like has that like that uncle that can't stand like the little kids. I can see you playing that where you just want to whoop everybody, all the little kids' ass.
Oh man, up there, you boy. One time I had to back in the day, I had to keep some kids, right? And no, I went over to a lady house. She had a lot of kids. and the kids was jumping, jumping on you. How do you jump on your leg and just be jumping on you? I said, what you goddamn kids on my leg, goddamn, So I pinched the goddamn kid. I pinched him hard as something. He thought, I said, did the baby hurt himself? I had to cover his mouth up. He pinched. No, I had to cover his mouth up. Get your ass jumping out on my clothes.
Yeah, man. Man, goddamn. So what else have you been doing, man? What are you still out on the road, or are you still doing shows?
No, like I said, I knew I wasn't a prolific writer, and I knew I wasn't going to be one of those top comedians, so to say. And when I started doing comedy, I was making more money than I ever made, and I couldn't believe it, And when I did my taxes, I said, "Sam, somebody's stealing," because I was making money and spending it, just spending it, just high rolling balls. And then I said, I ain't gonna do this. I did that for 4 years, messing up my money. Then I said, I'm gonna stop this, and I started buying property. And then when I started buying property and real estate, and a barbershop, church building, land and rental properties, so because I could have the residual income coming in while I was doing certain different things. So I did that. And that's where I wouldn't have to rely on the comedy. So they can say, Shuckey Duckey didn't make it big like Steve Harvey. He didn't make it big like Kevin Hart. I said, yeah, but I ain't homeless though, God dog. I ain't homeless.
That's right. That's right. Man, give us your best Steve Harvey story, man.
What, Steve Harvey story?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what I was impressed with Steve Harvey. When we had the Buku Comedy Club, the improvs that was in Dallas said that because we were giving a run for the money because we was packing the place out, and they wasn't going to let if you performed at Buku Ray, they wasn't going to let you perform at their venue. So Steve Harvey turned the notch up. He turned it up, and that's what I mean. He turned it up. And the man, I was so impressed with him because I was right there behind him, helping turn it up. But one thing that I got to say is this. Me and Steve Harvey was in a limousine. The line was wrapped around the building to get in the comedy club at Buku Ray. Steve Harvey said, look at that, Shuck. Look at that line. Look at that line. He said, look, man, I want to be big, man. I want to be big as Eddie Murphy. I said to myself, yeah, right. You got to say, he's big as Eddie. He's big. I don't think he have the status of Eddie Murphy, but he's big. He's big in name recognition and face recognition. He's big because that's what he wanted, and that was his drive. That was his motivation, and he did what he said he wanted to do. And he knew how to do it because Steve knew how to work behind the scenes. He knew how to get to the right people to make the right decisions for what he wanted to do. Yeah. And then when they put him on the Family Feud, I said that was the right move. I said it was the right move because I said that's the right move. I said it had to work because when I was in LA, I was with an urban author. And they asked me what I wanted to do. And this was back in 90-something, 95, 4, 6, somewhere in that area. Asked me what I want to do. I said, I want to host a Family Feud. I say, a Family Feud or The Price is Right. Those are my two shows I wanted to do, and I said, because they don't have any black game show hosts, and I was, I might not have been the right makeup for it, or I don't know what, but that's what, and so when they picked Steve Harvey to do it, to come out with it, I thought that was a great move.
Yeah. That's how he stays on TV all day, every day. So, and he get a nice check for that. And I seen that there's a Family Feud in Africa that he was doing. Yeah,
he got the license agreement. He bought the license to do it in Africa.
Really?
He's busy. He's real business savvy. Yeah. So he did that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, he did.
I appreciate you tapping in with me, man. This was like a comedy class for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well, I don't know like I said, I said, when you call me, I said, man, you need to talk to somebody that's interesting. You don't need to talk to me, man. I ain't all that interesting, man. I'm just living from day to day, working through this pandemic, whatever they want to call it, and making a lemonade out of lemons. Because what I did was when the pandemic hit, when the pandemic hit, they shut down the barbershops. They shut down. They told the people they couldn't go to church, so I wasn't getting no booth rent. And then they shut down the church. I wasn't getting no tithes and I wasn't getting no offering. Then they told the people they didn't have to pay for rent for the pandemic, so I wasn't getting that. And then they shut down the comedy clubs for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get no. So what I did, I had a Home Depot card. I had $500 on that Home Depot card. I went and bought me a lawnmower, a blower, and a weed eater. And I started a lawn service business. I've been cutting yards ever since.
Really?
Yes, sir. I don't stop. I mean, I'm not too proud. And people say, man, Shuckey Duckey cutting my yard. The Joker say, man, and the Joker got a camera. I'm in the cutting his backyard. He done went and got the camera, put me on Facebook, talking about Shuckey Duckey cutting my yard. I said, yeah, and you're paying celebrity prices too.
Yeah. Don't never be too proud, man.
I ain't too proud. Yeah. I'm too proud to beg, but I ain't too proud to work.
That's right. Yo, thank y'all for tapping in, man. This has been the Tap In Podcast. Shuckey Duckey, man, I thank you. I salute you. I appreciate you, man.
All right, tap on in. Oh,
that's right.
Quack.
Yeah, this has been the Tap In Podcast. Thank you for tapping in with us. In order to see more clips like this, check out this video here or check out this one here.